Good evening. Welcome to the Gladstone Planning Commission meeting on Tuesday, January 21st at 6:30 p.m. This meeting is going to start out a little bit different. I'm calling to order the meeting, and then we're going to do the oath of offices first. Is that correct, Ms.
That is
Banny?
correct, yes.
Okay. Please proceed.
We'll start with Stephanie. If you want to come on. We're going to turn this on. So I'm going to give you this.
Okay.
This is our oath of office. So raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Stephanie Carlson,
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and of the state of Oregon
and of the state of Oregon
and the Charter and Municipal Code
and the Charter and Municipal Code
of the City of Gladstone,
of the city of Gladstone,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
perform the duties of Planning Commissioner
perform the duties of Planning Commissioner
for the City of Gladstone, Oregon,
for the city of Gladstone, Oregon,
during my entire term, so help me God.
during my entire term, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And then
Welcome
we'll sign here.
aboard.
I'll sign at the bottom.
Date as well.
Yes, please. And then I'll have you sign this one, and then you'll get to keep that one.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Okay, perfect. And you can now take your seat right up here. Next is Joseph Brennan.
Hello and welcome. Hi.
Hi. I'm going to give this to you, and we're going to, if you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Joseph Brennan,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the state of Oregon
and the state of Oregon
and the Charter and Municipal Code
and the Charter and Municipal Code
of the City of Gladstone,
of the city of Gladstone,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
perform the duties of Planning Commissioner
perform the duties of Planning Commissioner
for the City of Gladstone, Oregon,
for the city of Gladstone, Oregon,
during my entire term, so help me God.
during my entire term, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
It's cold. It's cold outside.
Cold out there.
Yeah, it is.
And I'll trade you, and you can keep that one.
Thank you.
Okay, thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
And you can have your seat at
Okay.
the dais. Thank you.
And then Tammy, we should proceed with the roll call, et
Roll
cetera.
call now.
Okay.
So new commissioners, when your name is called, there's a microphone in front of you. You'll just need to push the little button in front of there to speak. When you're not speaking, then you can turn the microphone off. Okay, we're going to start with the roll call. Commissioner Volbada,
Yes.
Commissioner Weiss,
Here.
Commissioner Langston,
Present.
Commissioner Carlson,
Present.
Commissioner Pat Smith,
Here.
Commissioner Brennan,
Here.
Chair Smith.
Here. Let's do the roll, the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, I'd like to officially welcome aboard our two new planning commissioners. Thank you very much for joining us. And at this time, We are going to go through the process of electing a chair, which we do once a year. Is there any nominations for chair, for the position of chair?
I'd like to nominate Natalie Smith.
I second.
Anybody else want to make a nomination? Roll call
No
vote,
other
please.
Nominations? Okay. Commissioner Weiss,
Yes.
Commissioner Langston,
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson,
Yes.
Commissioner Pat Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Brennan,
Yes.
Commissioner Volbada,
Yes.
and Chair Smith.
Yes. Okay,
Congratulations.
thank you very much. Now, could we have some nominations for vice chairperson? I want to
Oh.
nominate Jennifer.
I'll second.
All right.
Are there any other nominations? Tammy, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Langston,
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson,
Yes.
Commissioner Pat Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Brennan,
Yes.
Commissioner Volbada,
Yes.
Commissioner Weiss,
Yes.
Chair Smith.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. Are you sure about this? Okay. Okay, moving forward to our consent agenda. All items listed below are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a commission member or person in the audience requests specific time be removed from the consent agenda for a discussion prior to for the time the commission votes on the motion to adopt the consent agenda. Item number 1, approval of November 19, 2024 meeting minutes, because there was no meeting in December. Then our regular agenda, item number 2, monthly planning report for November and December 2024. Item number 3, conditional modification for DR-24-05 and CU-24-02 regarding Kraxberger Ballfield dugouts pathway width. Item number 4, a public hearing for file number VAR-24-01, variance for detached accessory dwelling unit ADU, convert detached garage into an ADU for 435 West Exeter. And is it Andrea here? Am I pronouncing that correctly? Okay, Andrea, thank you very much. Then item number 5, public hearing file TXT-25-01, the floodplain code updates to allow the city to comply with regulations of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, allowing property owners, businesses, and renters to be eligible for the National Flood Insurance Program, NFIP. And item number 6, 2025 and 2026 Long Range Planning Commission Work Plan. Okay. How about, let's start with item number 1, the approval of the November 19 meeting minutes.
Minutes look good to me.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, the motion was made by Commissioner Weiss and seconded by Commissioner Volbada. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Pat Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Brennan,
Yes.
Commissioner Volbada,
Yes.
Commissioner Weiss,
Yes.
Commissioner Langston,
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson,
Yes.
Chair Smith.
Yes. Meeting minutes approved. Item number 2, staff.
Thank you, Chair Smith. Just to introduce myself to our new planning commissioners, I'm Heather Austin. I'm the staff planner. I'm a contract employee here with the city. I work for a company called 3J Consulting, but I do all the land use planning for the city. So anything that you receive as far as staff reports and other things that come from the planning department, that's coming from me. So I'm happy to, talk with you if you have any questions as you kind of move through your journey here on the Planning Commission. So welcome. The first items that I've presented for this evening are our planning department reports for the months of November and December. We usually put one of these in, but we didn't have a meeting in December, so you have 2 months to look at. We try to capture what types of customer service contacts we've had throughout the month, how many building permits we've reviewed, if we've had any staff level decisions during that time frame. So if there are any questions from anyone, I'm happy to answer those.
Planning commissioners, any questions?
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Item number 3, condition modification DR 24 05 and CU 24 02. Cracksburger dugouts pathway width.
Yes, thank you, Chair Smith. So this is not a land use hearing. The land use hearing was in November, and we approved this application with a special condition for a pathway. The applicant then had time to look into some cost estimating the junior baseball organization and found that the 6-foot wide path doubled the cost of the dugouts, as they were worried that it would, but we didn't have the evidence at the time to make that determination. So we reached out to the building department to make sure what we were requiring was in line with what would be required when they submit for a building permit. And the building department said, actually, we would accept a 3-foot wide path for this project. And so we looked at the criteria in the code and tried to make some findings that the planning commission could then adopt to modify our condition down to the 3-foot wide path to try to change that overall cost. So that's for this group to decide if you'd like to modify that condition of approval, and then that would just go into the file and we'd be looking for that 3-foot wide pathway, which is what the building department would require as well.
So you'll need us to make a motion in order to approve
Yes.
that variance. Okay.
Yes.
Planning commissioners, any questions?
And was the applicant amenable to the 3-foot delta?
We actually haven't received any feedback, so I don't know. We reached out with this idea maybe 3 weeks ago after talking with the building department, didn't hear anything, and then we reached back out when it was time to produce the packet and said, we're just going to move forward and get it on the books so that if you are ready to move forward with this, you can. And we didn't receive any feedback.
Was the pricing they were looking at, was that asphalt?
I think it's, yeah, I know it's a grade difference between the dugouts and the
Mhm.
getting up to the pathway. So I think it's,
Oh, the excavation and.
yeah. So hopefully the reduction of the width of the pathway does save
Mhm.
some money. City Administrator Betts is also in communication with the school district about it as well, just to make sure that they know that everybody's wanting to see this project happen, but that we can't waive ADA requirements.
Remind me, did we require it to be asphalt or just
No,
a
it
3-foot
just-
path?
it was
We did
just-
not, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that'll help.
yeah. There's a lot of other materials you could use.
Any other questions or comments? I would entertain a motion if someone would like to make one.
Excuse me, I move that we accept DR 24 05 / CU 24 02.
Modification.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, the motion was made by Commissioner Smith and seconded by Commissioner Langston. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Volbada,
Yes.
Commissioner Weiss,
Yes.
Commissioner Langston,
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson,
Yes.
Commissioner Pat Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Brennan,
Yes.
Chair Smith.
Yes, motion passes and variance is approved. Okay. On to item number 4, which is a public hearing. Okay. Excuse me, I missed it. There it is. Okay. I'd like to open up the public hearing for file VAR 24 01, variance for detached accessory dwelling unit ADU. And this location would be at 435 West Exeter. The procedure we would like to follow tonight is to receive a report from staff. Applicant testimony, proponent testimony, opponent testimony, applicant rebuttal, decision to continue or close the hearing, and planning commission discussion and decision. Now, does any commission member wish to disqualify himself or herself for any personal or financial interest in this matter before us tonight? Or does any commission member wish to report any significant ex parte pre-hearing contacts? Please indicate if you have visited the site in connection with this application. I'll start with Commissioner Jennifer.
No ex parte contact. Yes, I am familiar with the site. And yes, I will be participating.
Commissioner Weiss.
No contact. I have been there before. I reviewed it on Google Maps today and I plan to participate.
Okay, Commissioner Langston.
Yep, I have no financial interest or ex parte contact. Not been there, and I plan to participate tonight.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Carlson.
No, I plan to participate, no contact, and I have not seen the site.
Commissioner Smith.
I have driven by and viewed the property. I don't have any financial interest and do plan to participate.
Okay. Please, Commissioner.
Sorry, ma'am, no financial interest whatsoever. I have walked by the site twice and I do plan on participating tonight.
Okay, wonderful. And as for myself, no ex parte, no financial interest. I did drive past, so I am aware of the location and I do plan on participating. Does any member of the audience wish to challenge the right of any commission member to hear this matter? Okay. Is there any member of the audience who wishes to question the jurisdiction of this body to act on behalf of the city council on this matter? Okay. Oregon land use laws require that all issues be raised if the issues are to be appealed. Failure to raise the issues at this hearing may invalidate their further appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals, LUBA. Any party has the right to request a continuance to this hearing, or in the alternative, to have the record left open for 7 days. Failure to raise constitutional or other issues relating to proposed conditions of approval with sufficient specificity to allow the commission to respond to the issue will preclude an action for damages in circuit court. If you're going to testify, please try to address the application criteria. Will the staff please present the report?
Thank you, Chair Smith. We will pull up a brief PowerPoint. Sorry. Tammy's working her magic. I put all the text into Calibri because the last time I provided a PowerPoint, it didn't look good at all because the font wasn't one that the city could use. So I tried to make sure it was a general text.
It's funny how particular it can be about a font.
I know.
Yay.
Great. Okay, so thank you, Chair Smith and Tammy. As we talked about, as you presented, this is a request for a variance to the property at 435 West Exeter Street, which is highlighted in blue on the map there. So between Barton and the 99E McLaughlin Boulevard, the backside of the property abuts homes that face Dartmouth. The proposal is a variance to the rear and side setback for an existing accessory structure, which is right now a garage. They would like to convert this garage structure into an accessory dwelling unit. Approval of an accessory dwelling unit requires compliance with dimensional standards of the underlying lot or an approved variance. So that's why we're here this evening. The project site is zoned R5 and are single household residential. There are no environmental overlays. It's not in the FEMA floodplain or in a significant habitat zoning district. We sent public and agency notice to all of our required recipients there, the applicant and owner of the subject site, owners of property and residents located within 250 feet of the subject property, city departments, Clackamas Fire, Water Environment Services, and the Oregon Department of Transportation. The response received from Gladstone Public Works has been incorporated into the staff report and was included in your packet this evening. And I did receive one phone call from a neighboring property owner. And after we talked about what was being proposed, they didn't have any concerns with the proposal. So applicability, Gladstone Municipal Code Chapter 17.72 allows variances from standards of development code where it can be shown that strict application of the provisions in the development code would cause an undue or unnecessary hardship. There are findings in the staff report that address each of the required applicable criteria, and that show that the variance to the rear and side property lines to convert this existing garage into an ADU do meet the standards of the development code. The variance request, so the R5 zone requires 15 feet to the rear and 5 to the side. So what's existing is the minimum variance. This is what it is because the building's already built. There's no way to say, well, let's just go 5 in the rear and 2 on the side. So it is a pretty significant variance. You're looking at 82% variance to the rear standard and 72% to the side. But I did want to note that the R5 zoning district would permit a 0-foot setback to either of those property lines if the structure were 450 feet in size. The fact that it's 600 feet in size disqualifies it from that, but it's there are situations where we would permit outright a 0 setback on one of those sides. I believe I already said the findings, so we'll skip that part. Staff does recommend approval of this variance with the standard conditions of approval to allow the conversion of the existing garage into an ADU with no further expansion of the structure's footprint. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions, and I believe the applicant is here.
Commissioner Smith, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
No. Does anybody have any questions?
I remember we had a similar application for I think it was a garage. They were going to add a second level on Arlington.
Yes.
And this is kind of a similar situation, but that might have been before we kind of updated our ADU codes. I don't remember the timing on that. But I think the biggest issue we had with that one was just the overall size that he was going for. He was trying to, I think, do a whole second level on the top of his garage, and I think it was probably bigger than this one. But I know we kind of,
I don't remember the size, but I do remember that he couldn't prove his hardship,
yeah,
and that's why it was.
okay.
we
Okay,
did-
that's
we
why I
didn't-
just,
We didn't approve it, did
yeah,
we?
we didn't. And so that's why I'm just trying to reflect on that, just to make sure that we're not making any different,
Well, I will say
Being
that
consistent,
yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
yeah,
That's a good point.
the floor area of an ADU is limited in this zone to between 220 and 800 square feet. So this 600 does fall within that square footage. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
I do have one question.
Please.
Are variances of this nature common within Gladstone?
Yeah, especially that's a great question. Thanks. Especially when properties predated the current zoning code. So we also have a non-conforming use standard, but that wasn't as directly applicable here because it's a change of use. So the garage is a non-conforming structure. It's not meeting for the garage either. Garages have specific setback requirements as well. But once you convert it into the ADU, you're asking for something more of that property. So you want to apply this standard to either approve it or not approve it. But yeah, variances are, they're not super rare, but I think this maybe was the only one we processed last year. There's also a process called an adjustment that's up to 20% of a variant of a deviation from a standard. And we had maybe 2 of those last year as well. And those are staff level.
Thank you.
I was going to ask, unrelated to this case, we've talked about adding staff level design review in the future. Is this something that would potentially be included, or the variance would always come to this?
Variance will always come here just because there's already a staff level up to 20%. It feels like that's an appropriate breaking point, that a 20% variance has a smaller impact, and anything more than that should probably come to this body.
Okay, thank you.
You'll have to refresh my memory. When we were looking at modifying everything relating to ADUs and whatnot, was there a limitation as to how many you could have of an ADU on a set property?
Currently it's one.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I
Yeah.
wasn't sure. Okay.
Yeah, currently it's one. If you wanted to do more than one additional unit, then you're getting into more like a duplex, triplex situation, and there's different standards for
It would
that.
have to be rezoned in order to do something.
No, the zoning does permit up to a quadplex on any residential property in any metro city and a lot of other larger cities in the state. But you would go through a review process for that, make sure it's all meeting setbacks, height, all that sort of thing. And then our public works department would be looking at the utility connection fees and system development charges and all of those things.
When I went past the property, I couldn't see where there was a driveway that would go back to that outbuilding or garage in the back. Is there a driveway there or access to it with a car?
There is a driveway there, but it's not required that they provide parking because it's within the parking exception area.
Okay. Okay, and I also noticed it looked like what was originally the garage was already, it looked like a separate dwelling.
I don't know about that, so we'll have to ask the applicant
Okay.
about that.
Is the applicant present? Would you like to come forward and? Are you, no, that's fine, that's fine. When you come up, please make sure that you depress the button so it lights up and give your name and address. And then we'll probably ask some, well, I'll let you present first and then we can ask some questions. Okay, thank you.
Mike and Andrea Hare, 435 West Exeter Street. The reason the outside doesn't appear to be a garage is because I had to put new siding on it. And when I took the siding off, I realized that it wasn't insulated. So I had to put insulation in and OSB board. So when we put the new siding up, it makes it look new, and updated the windows. So it kind of looks like an apartment.
Yes,
It kind of has that nice look to it, but the back siding is just T111 at this point. So it's still a garage, and it's full of sawdust and saws and all kinds of things, toolboxes.
okay.
And as far as the road or the access for parking, yeah, you did have a car parked in there on the previous owner. They would just park their car in, so you can get right to it with a paved driveway.
Okay. And my concern was, should there need to be an ambulance or fire truck, whatever, does it have access? So,
Yes.
okay. Commissioners, any questions of the applicant? Nobody? Okay, so that's not a separate dwelling. It isn't a garage where it looks like, because when I drove past.
It's
looked-
detached. Is it detached?
It is
structure, right?
detached.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great.
I think she's referring to, I think we're talking about two different things.
Yeah, I'm talking about
The
the front of the
garage in
house.
the back that you want to convert is the one that you have tools and things like that stored in. The front looks like what was a garage has been converted into part of the house.
Oh, it's still a garage. It's still a garage, but it looks very nice at this point.
Okay,
I don't know if I understand the question.
If you want to say something, you need to come up and speak into the. Yes.
Andrea Hare here. So that, the family room, we call it, has never been a garage.
Okay,
The original owners back in 1954 made it a family room.
okay.
So that's why the brickwork looks the same. Maybe it was intended back
Yeah.
then, but they never did it.
Well, and there's a separate door, so I thought, is that another separate
No,
dwelling?
it's
So
never
that's why I-
been.
Okay,
And so the people who bought it originally, they put it right dead center in the middle of two properties so that it couldn't be divided.
Okay.
So that's it.
okay, great.
thank you.
Now it's time for public testimony. Is there any Public testimony?
I received no request to speak.
Okay. And so no opponents either, correct?
I received no
Okay.
correspondence, no.
Does the applicant have any further comments you'd like to add? Okay. If there's no further testimony, I will entertain a motion to either close the public hearing or continue it to a date certain. What is the pleasure of the commission?
I'll move to close the public hearing.
Okay.
Second.
Commissioner Weiss made the motion to close the public hearing and it was seconded by Commissioner Volbada. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Brennan,
Yes.
Commissioner Pat Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson,
Yes.
Commissioner Langston,
Yes.
Commissioner Weiss,
Yes.
Commissioner Volbada,
Yes.
Chair Smith.
Yes. Okay, public hearing is closed at 7 PM. So, any questions, deliberations? Does someone want to make a motion?
I'm just, this is what we've been working for, right? This is really in line with the city of Gladstone code. We've been wanting to increase density. We've been working on codes to make ADUs approachable and able to be built. And considering that there was no opponents to this and even some questions, really makes me feel comfortable with approving this variance.
Yeah, and to add to that, you know, it is an existing structure, you know, it's not anything that, it's not their fault, they didn't put it there, so. it's pretty-
Grandfathered in.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
I move that we accept VAR 24-01.
I'll second.
Staff recommendation is on the screen if you want to read it right off the screen.
Staff recommends approval of VAR 24-01 with standard conditions of approval to allow the conversion of an existing garage into an ADU with no further expansion of the structure's footprint.
I'll second.
The motion was made by Commissioner Smith and seconded by Commissioner Langston. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Carlson,
Yes.
Commissioner Langston,
Yes.
Commissioner Weiss,
Yes.
Commissioner Volbada,
Yes.
Commissioner Brennan,
Yes.
Commissioner Pat Smith,
Yes.
Chair Smith.
Yes, it is approved. Okay. Now on to item agenda, the public hearing for file TXT -25-01 floodplain code updates.
Thank you, Chair Smith. So I don't have a PowerPoint prepared for you this evening because we started putting this package together thinking we didn't want to endanger our National Flood Insurance Program participation. I definitely don't want that to happen on my watch. That made me very nervous. But our city attorney assures us that they are working with city attorneys from other jurisdictions, as well as the League of Oregon Cities, and they are working expeditiously to put together their own version of model code language that will be more clear and objective than what FEMA has put forward and probably than what I prepared for you as well. So they asked us to hold on doing any kind of hearing. So we'd like to just state that this hearing will move forward to the date certain of February 18th. We think that we will have language in time for that, but if not, we'll be looking to forward it again. But I did want to just bring it forward and see if there were any questions about these changes that are being required of the city of Gladstone and of all cities in the state of Oregon that have these endangered species within them.
I will have a question on our ability to participate. Because when we come into these public hearings, if decisions have the potential to impact us financially, we need to step away from responding that. So my question is, if any of our homes, the homes that we own in the city are in one of these flood zones, will that impact our ability to participate?
That is such a great question, and I'm so glad you're asking it now so that I can ask the city attorney and get back to you for the next
Yeah,
meeting.
excellent question.
Thank
Jennifer.
you.
Thank you. Are they working hard to make sure that whatever is written can be understand in layman's terms?
I'm sorry, Tammy was just asking if we need to officially open the public hearing. I think if we just decide to state that the hearing is moving forward to February 18th, then we can just open it consider it going to the next meeting. So should we just do that now and officially state?
It's my understanding that for file TXT 25-01 will be moved forward to the next meeting, February 18th, 2025. Should this process not be completed, it will be moved on to the next available planning commission date.
Perfect. And then can you repeat your question?
Yes. Are they working hard to make sure that whatever is written will be easily understood by regular people in layman's terms?
Oh, heck no.
So it's gonna be complicated to understand them.
It will be complicated. Currently to put forward a floodplain permit, you do have to hire an expert, to be able to put together that language, and that will not change.
Okay.
You currently have to bring someone on board to do some delineating, to do some, marking where the floodplain is located, what types of impacts are happening, what kind of mitigation is happening. The thing that's changing, one thing that's really nice about 3J Consulting with the city is we have a certified floodplain manager on staff.
Okay, wonderful.
So we have that backup to be able to look over anything that's submitted, which is really nice. We just have that in-house because of our partnership. The things that are changing are currently in the city of Gladstone. If you want to develop in the floodplain, you cannot create less capacity in the floodplain. So if you say, I'm going to put this structure right here, then you have to dig out somewhere else to make more space for water, right? So that's stormwater capacity, basically. We also have almost over our entire floodplain, our habitat conservation area for riparian areas, which requires you to plant trees, mitigate for removal of trees and shrubs. That's the second thing that's required of this. So we're already doing 2 of the 3 things. Basically, our habitat conservation area isn't a 1-for-1 for the floodplain, but it's pretty close. The third thing that we are not doing that no other cities were doing is allowing habitat for fish in cases of floods. You need to have ingressible and egressible fish storage areas. So that will be new for our code. And like I said, will we all understand that? Probably not that specifically, but will it be written so that it meets the FEMA and Endangered Species Act provisions? And then when an application comes that's stamped by a professional, that's being reviewed by a professional, and then we'll be able to use that information to make our decisions. But will it be easy for anyone to read? I don't think so. It's not right now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what provisions we will be required to mitigate any of the fish during a flood.
Yeah, it is very interesting. And if we were coastal, we would also be looking at orcas, but we're just looking at salmon and steelhead because of our waters.
So there's, other than what I stated, there's no further action needed for item number 5 right now.
That's correct. I just wanted to make sure you're aware of it so that when it does come back, and get those great questions like, if we're in the floodplain, should we recuse ourselves? That's a great question. It may not be at the planning commission level because you're making a recommendation to city council. But I will ask because it would be applicable to city council to know the answer to that question as well.
I'm assuming down, or flatlands, lowlands, as you call them, like I'm just down on West Dartmouth, only blocks away from the Clackamas River. So I'm assuming I'm in the floodplain.
I don't think so. It doesn't cross Clackamas Boulevard.
It doesn't?
Not generally.
Okay.
Let me pull that up and can I share? Pretty. Oh, yeah. I'd have to get on the Zoom to share, right? Why
Jennifer,
don't
that
I?
was an excellent question.
Why don't I pull it up and then I can share with you if anybody's curious. We can look after the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, if you just go to FEMA mapping, we can pull up Gladstone, Oregon. FEMA floodplain mapping.
I doubt that you are, because that's up. I'm on the flatlands. Okay.
I'm gonna send it for Tammy here.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. Flood maps. And then, if you just scroll down to Gladstone.
Okay.
Oh, shoot, sorry. If you just go FEMA, oh, can I drive? It's the 100.
Okay.
Those things really lean.
Yeah. Be careful there. I can see you go.
I
Whoa.
know.
Okay. So if we want to pull that up and then I can kind of talk through what we're looking at. We can move around a little bit in there.
So if we get flooded, the rest of you are in no trouble.
Okay.
Wonderful.
So the areas that we're most concerned with are the turquoise and the hashed turquoise and pink. So if we
I'm able to use the.
Would call it peach?
She's a-
No,
oh,
she
we'll
was
see if
talking
you're
about
looking the other direction.
turquoise and
Oh,
pink.
that
Yeah.
won't help.
Can we zoom in? I think, yeah, and then kind of just like scroll down to Clackamas Boulevard. Yeah, then people can see that it kind of,
Chance of flood.
yeah, so it follows kind of along Clackamas Boulevard there.
Okay.
On the south. That orange is not 100-year, that's 200-year, so we don't.
The
regulate
peach
that.
colored.
Yeah, the
orange.
peach. So the 24-hour fitness is, but then it dips in.
Oh.
Yeah,
This- Yeah, this is
orange.
Arlington.
they're in orange, but that's not regulated. That's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
200-year floodplain. So in a very extreme event, you could see water.
So that would be, so
It
I
would-
would be over in that. Cause I'm right over here somewhere. Yep. I am in that.
Hmm?
Yeah, but
Do you want us to zoom in so you can see a little closer? You know where Chair Smith lives? You can-
on Dartmouth, I think it's
Yep.
that street right there.
I'm trying to.
Oh, right, Dartmouth is the backside of.
West
where the
Dartmouth, yeah.
floodplains are. Yeah, no, I think you're far enough away.
Okay. Anybody else live down in that area close to the river? All right.
I do have my GIS folks mapping which parcels are in the floodplain so that we can see it a little more clearly. I've requested that for. Oh,
Will that be
sorry.
recorded with Clackamas County for the tax lot purposes as well?
The Clackamas County does have flood mapping embedded in their systems.
Okay.
Yes, and then FEMA is the creators of this map. And if you wanted to change this map, like say, we built a wall 50 years ago and so water doesn't come up. They have a process called letter of map revision. It's on pause right now while they're working through this whole system, but these maps are produced by FEMA and these maps are relied upon by FEMA to make flood insurance decisions.
Okay.
And what I said without my microphone was that our GIS team at 3J is putting together some mapping with which tax lots are specifically affected by floodplains, so that we'll have that as part of our package next time.
Wonderful. Thank you. Well, if we've covered that area, I'm looking at item number 6, 2025 and 2026 long range planning.
Yes, so nothing much has changed except Commissioner Weiss did mention at our last meeting, making sure that we're accommodating any economic development changes that are needed as we move forward with our Main Street program or our urban renewal program. So I did coordinate with Marcy Jory, your economic development and tourism coordinator, and she said things like murals or facade improvements might be things that if there's a a process in the development code that we can streamline, that might be something to consider. So she wasn't ready to really dive into a program just yet, but we're going to put it on there and keep it on and talk about it when it's appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think of the things that are listed there, we're going to be forced to do the FEMA work first. And then we're going to need to finish up the town center work before June 30th per our grant agreement. So those two things will sort of take priority at the beginning half of 2025. And then we'll probably either depending on what's been bubbling and what's going on in the community, or just ask this body, take a poll, like what we should work on next.
Okay. Do any commissioners have any questions or suggestions? Additions? Nothing? Thank you very much, Heather. Okay. Any business from the public?
I have received no request to speak.
Okay. Business from the planning commission. I'll start with Jennifer, please.
Welcome new commissioners. It's exciting to see some new faces up here. Excited to have you. But yeah, nothing new.
Commissioner Weiss?
Well, I think on my first meeting, Commissioner Pat Smith asked me to introduce myself, so I will do the same since he's not going to get the chance before we get to you.
Doggone it.
If the two of you would just give us a little bit about yourselves when you get a chance. Let's do it now.
Yeah, let's.
That makes
do
it, yeah.
that. You wanna go first?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm Joe.
Speak closer into the
Oh,
mic.
sorry. My name is Joe, and I live here in Gladstone. And I would like to just thank everybody for, having me here at the Planning Commission, and for council for also voting for me. And I don't know, I walk around town a lot. I like looking at a lot of things and kind of seeing how the town operates from kind of behind the scenes. But now that I'm up here, I look forward to making, legitimate decisions to better the community.
May I ask, what was it that drew you to wanting to apply for planning commission?
I attended some meetings back in, I think, 2018 or 2019.
Okay,
Yeah, and kind of got fascinated by the process.
great. Okay, Stephanie, you're next.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Carlson. I do want to also thank the city council for voting for me. I am newish to Gladstone. I've been here for about 2 years, but I was in Milwaukee, Oak Grove area, so just a little bit further up the road. I always volunteer, and what attracted me to the planning commission was when I was living at our previous home, I actually really enjoyed being on the HOA board, just because it is fascinating, like you said, Joe. It's fascinating work, and I feel like volunteering is the way that you continue to just make the community better and support the community. So
I agree.
that's why I'm here.
Great.
Thank you.
Do you have anything else, Commissioner Weiss?
No, that was it.
Okay.
It's just one chapter, chapter 17, and we just
More
have
to come.
Huh?
More to come.
More to come. Yeah.
Commissioner Langston.
Nope, just Happy New Year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to add?
None, ma'am.
Okay, thank
At
you.
least not yet.
Okay. Commissioner Smith.
Well, since we're long on time, I'll tell a little story about my first meeting. And I look around and I think I know Ms. Bannock was there, but it's about 7 years ago, and it was a fairly contested issue in the community. And I got sworn in and sat down, and there were about 60 people, including 2 or 3 police officers and a lot of very unhappy Gladstonians about the issue that was before the council or the commission. But we've never had another meeting like that since. So
Do you have anything else to add?
no, I don't.
Okay.
Thank
Do you have any other business?
I'm going to turn it back quickly on everyone else. How long have you been in Gladstone and on the commission?
Jennifer?
All right. Hey, I'm Jenny, Commissioner, Vice Chair now.
Vice Chair.
Woohoo. My husband and I moved go back into Gladstone about 4 or 5 years ago now. I grew up in Oregon City, so it's nice to be back home. I work in construction, project management outside of this, and I have a master's degree in real estate development. So it's fun to be able to use the education that I've paid a lot of money for to help my community.
My name's Jake Weiss. I live on Windsor Drive over closer to McLaughlin, and I've lived in Gladstone for 25 plus years. When we decided to settle down, we bought a house in Gladstone, like not too far from where I grew up. And I am a process improvement and customer experience manager for PGE. And yeah, I don't live in this space as some of our counterparts here. So I like getting into it every once in a while.
My name's Andrell Langston, and I pretty much grew up in this area. I lived off of Deason growing up, and then I went to Rex Putnam. But I've lived in, I pretty much lived around here my whole life, but we moved into Gladstone 10 years ago. I'm on my second term on the Planning Commission, and I work in general contracting. Yeah.
I think I purchased my home in 2002 and been here ever since. Been on the planning commission, I think 3 terms. Yeah, 3 terms. And I'm an office manager for a plumbing company in Oregon City. So, yeah.
This April, I will mark my 44th year in Gladstone. We moved in here April of 1980. Raised 2 children here who turned out to be decent human beings, thanks to in part to the community, that good schools and all that. Liked it here. It's home now. I've spent more than half my life here, so it's my home.
Okay, did you have anything else you wanted to add? No? I don't have any business other than I just want to make a comment that I love driving around our community, and I have to give major praise to Yvonne, our code enforcement. She's doing an outstanding job. Areas that I had not issues with, but I knew went against code have been cleaned up, fixed, whatever. I mean, she's doing her job. And I highly praise her for it. Our city's looking really nice. She's cleaning up the eyesores. So
We will pass that along.
yeah, she's doing an exceptional job. So very thankful we have her. And it's an honor to work with and serve with all of you. I look forward to another year. And unless anybody else has more business
Chair
from,
Smith, I had one more thing. I just want to let the new commissioners know that we will be getting you additional training, planning commission training. And then also to let all board committees and commission members that we will be doing our annual volunteer ethics training. This year is going to be online, and it will be something that each individual will have to sign up to do. We're not doing it in-house. I will be sending out to all of our boards, commissions, and committee members information about completing that information. So that will be coming soon. Just wanted to let you know.
will it be during the day when most of us are working?
We're trying to work, so there's options for
Okay.
people to do that. Yes.
Okay, excellent. If there isn't anything further, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Langston made the motion to adjourn the meeting, and it was seconded by Commissioner Smith. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Volbada,
Yes.
Commissioner Weiss,
Yes.
Commissioner Langston,
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson,
Yes.
Commissioner Pat Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Brennan,
Yes.
Chair Smith.
Yes, meeting is adjourned at 7:25 PM.